As of today, Carl Icahn's net worth was estimated by Forbes at close to $15.4 billion. In this video, we will show you how he got started. Icahn used to be called the corporate raider. He will come into the company by purchasing large number of shares. This allows him to have controlling positions in the company. He will then force the company to change rules or break it up. As a result, the stock price might go up, then he cash out. By doing this, he was able to generate over 20% a year. Icahn has $18 billion to manage, so a 20% of that is a considerable amount of returns. But what often was not told was how he initially got capital to get started. Carl Icahn had a degree in philosophy in Princeton and 3 years of medical school before he returned to Wall Street and became a broker for 2 different companies.
So I read a lot about puts and calls, and in those days that was really the Wild West, the puts and calls. And you had all these option brokers, if you remember, and they were fleecing everybody. So I was the honest broker, so to speak. I'd come in and tell everybody, put out a midweek option report, and I'd stay up every night calling people that write in for my report. And I'd be calling them from Cal to California. And I had a big following in options. And I'd give them more than they thought they would get, which I couldn't believe. Here's a guy that I don't know from New York calling this wealthy guy, and he'll sell 10 calls on this stock, and I'll do it for $5,000. I get him $6,000. The guy couldn't believe it, right? Then I get him more. And the put and call brokers couldn't believe it because they all wanted to give you business back. They said, I know you can do it cheaper costs. And I built this thing up. By 68, I was making $700,000-800,000 a year, which was like today, 10 million, 20 million.
Here's exactly how it does it. You can look at options as insurance policies to stocks. Icahn was like an insurance salesperson at that time. He'd call up rich people and pitch options contracts to them, and he made a commission from that. Since he picked options that actually would benefit his clients, he received a huge amount of orders. He made so much money from doing this, in 1968, Icahn established his own brokerage firm. Icahn & Co. is still a brokerage company that purchases and sells securities on behalf of their clients. But on the side, Icahn started using his profits to invest in other companies. From 60s to the 80s, there was a huge market growth. Although there's no record of how much money the company actually made during that period, but by early 1980, Icahn was able to fully take over an airline with $469 million. He turned the company around and made a huge profit. He just uncovered the secret to make money. He realized that when he threatened to take over companies, these firms purchased their shares at a premium to remove the threat. This is called a green mailing today. Corporate raiding, huge in 1980s, had a certain notoriety. Raiders became hugely rich by increasing the share price of these companies through their interference. Now you might wonder, isn't an increasing share of value a good thing? But not in all cases and not in the short term. Sometimes such an increase of price might be a result of a pump and dump. Pump and dump is a scheme that attempts to boost the price of stock through recommendations based on false, misleading, or greatly exaggerated statements. The perpetrator of this scheme already have an established position in the company's stock and sell their positions after the hype has led to a higher share price. This practice is illegal. Nowadays, Carl Icahn is being called the activist investor, although his actions haven't really changed that much.
An activist is the same as a raider. You know, they call it whatever you want, a rose by any other name. So you haven't changed? I haven't changed at all. Not one iota. I'm still doing the same thing. I go in, buy a lot of stock in an undervalued company. It helps the other shareholders a great deal. But I'm not putting myself a cloak and say, oh, shareholders, I'm doing a great job for you.
So you don't do it for the other shareholders. You do it for you, but it does happen to raise all the boats.
It helps the shareholders immensely.